All right, how has your start of the day been? Have you been trading something? Nothing yet, huh? Dun, dun. Just woke up. Nothing yet. May 10 or hey, there you go. Hey, what? Yesterday? Isn't that Sunday? The opening is crazy. Oh yeah, because you're in a different time zone, right? So that's why that stuff should work. Um, might see if we tap here, it's gonna tap back in here. Come back here, and then it's gonna drop down to here. I'm gonna look for a quick scalp to the downside from that point. Like this. Either that or I'll scalp it a bit further on. We'll see. Um, the hypersonic model is not specifically tied to the Shitcho model. It can be utilized through the Shitcho model. So at the end of the day, what you can utilize for it is the quick taps and goes in the market. Quick reactions, not looking to be correct, but just utilizing the hard reactions from certain points. Understand there's a high probability from this point, high probability from this point, and that's how you can stack up the R's, right? Back in the day, I used to do this many times before I started to take my big trades. Just in the beginning to have that cushion. Now I've changed my mind over time into showing um, that I'm very aggressive in the beginning and taking all kinds of trades, and then I'm ending up at being more laid back and relaxed on the market. So that has happened over time. Now, I'll still show you that this stuff is pretty powerful. Um, this is, for example, where you're gonna see a reaction. I'm not sure if I'm gonna take this or not, but I might. Let's see. Um, so this is sort of you have to understand that there's a high risk involved with this stuff. You can utilize the entry in here as a tick chart entry to go lower in here as well. Um, and then utilize to your advantage when you're taking these type of trades. That's the reaction, for example, that you can expect in these movements, right? Um, so the hypersonic model is something that is highly aggressive um, and a lower percentage of win rate, but it's you're gonna get trades all over the place, right? Um, so just because you can take a loss and take a win, I'm not taking this so far, by the way. I can actually do this just for a show, and now you can look for the tick charts in here to take advantage of that downside. But this stuff is very powerful when it comes to you don't have to really understand the direction, but get the sort of the quick moves away from it, right? Hard reactions away from certain areas of price. And you don't have to guess so much. You can just be part of the move. I might actually look very short here. Starting to look really good here now. One tick above maybe. Wanted to take to 98 here. It's gonna drop here, isn't it? this is. There it is. See how she moves here. It's a pretty hard reaction down from here. Can I have this? This is annoying. And so the hypersonic is something that is highly, again, remember that it's very aggressive when it comes to understanding the balances in the markets. And this is where you really have to understand not to be greedy, right? So when you get that move, get out of your position. This is the CBC I'm looking for. Right in here. See if we can get something that tells me that this is, that's a tick. I wanted to really scream at me to go down from here. Nothing is screaming yet. Now here comes the scream. It's not giving the reaction. Should have already dropped here. So I'm not sure about that, sucker. And that's why I'm also having this this purple. I'm not really willing to take this trade as in. I'm not certain because of this reaction multiple times from down here. Might just hold. But I wanted to see price do this very thing right here. You're gonna see the potential upcoming reaction from this point now. Let me actually put this here. Dude, I would have been cooked on that sucker. Watching out, it could also move down into this level here. So it could probably move, bounce around in here, get some quick move here, and then move down here. I might look for a CBC here to move higher into moving lower. In here somewhere. So just like this in here. It's gonna have a reaction away from this area here now. Doesn't have two candles. Bang, bang. His most likely the reaction down here. Nothing that you would utilize, but break two highs. This is most likely being tapped into as well here. I'm actually get rid of this. This is nothing I would take a short on, but This is something down here that I'm interested in taking along. Um, I would have been interested in long down here, if price wouldn't have done this, sweeping that, going up here, going down here, because I barely saw the price really moving higher from that point. Um, I might be looking for an aggressive CBC in here, like this. Looks like I'm not getting that CBC. It's gonna work. Since we're so far up in price, I would look for a tick chart entry in here to move higher. Actually, clean reaction using the trailing entry. Mm, most likely. If it comes down here again, it's a failed 2 on CBC prematurely, so I'd be careful taking along from here. But it's potentially still viable to take a longer setup. I would need to confirm this through the tick chart if it moved down here again, right? Because that could potentially be a 3 in here or a 2 in here on CD on tick chart to move down into the 3 inside the 2 on CBC to go higher. But I don't think it's gonna do that. I think it's gonna move higher up until this point. We'll see what it does. I'm prepared for every outcome, right? A couple people joined in. Hey, what's up, you guys? Um, T, Chris, Killer B, Bryce, what's up? Morning, morning. In and out today. Hey, that's all right. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good, Bryce. I'm good. How are you, man? Good at work. Yeah, a couple of people at work right now. That's the reality of it, right? This is the reaction in here. I might be looking for a tick chart to take along in here, but I think it's gonna drop down and take out that low if it comes down there again. Prematurely failed 2 here. But I'll confirm it with the tick here. All right. Well, the tick says up. Let's see a reaction a bit lower here. Like there. So that looks kind of good. All right, that's a drop. It's not something I took here. This was pre took a while ago. Don't mind this. Sweep this maybe. I'll come back down here, sweep that low, do something, take it to the upside. I'm trying to find the right correct idea of price right now. I'm not entirely sure if we're gonna move higher. You know, we have this one up top here of interest potentially. Got this one up top as well. Um, these are the essential ones that I'm interested in to the upside. Uh, not so much this one because we ran two highs in here, so this would be something like that. Um, and we have one at the bottom, so this looks interesting to me as well. That high to price, let price run back up into that high, but also covering a bit from Friday's drop of 1,000 points ish. That's sort of the general idea right now. So I don't know what I'd be thinking in this case. So I'd be following the flow of it. So I want to see that low being swept and then head back up higher. It's okay if price runs back down into that 50. I don't necessarily see this as a breathing room since it's just a one candle. Um, so I've been looking at this as the breathing room and this as a stop, right? Which would result in us getting a reaction where we're getting a reaction from right now. But right now we're seeing a potential two in CBC. That might be a two to run down into a three, take us lower, and then I'll be utilizing a long from down here. That's the general idea right now. So I want to see price drop from this point, go down here, sweep that, utilize that as the move to the upside. And that's when I would take a long. Looks like it's going higher without sweeping that low, which is all right. Take a look at. Gonna have a see a reaction from this point here. This is also a point of reaction. See if it's actually this area. Kind of looks like this is the interesting point. I would probably should tell me more info here. I'm seeing the correct moves, sort of. But in here we have not enough information to utilize this, I would say. Failed to, but not sweeping that low yet, so it's not necessarily a valid CBC to take us to the upside. So be careful with taking a long here. The reason why I put back testing and or live price today was essentially to utilize the uh, the current market conditions. If I feel like it's too bad, I'm gonna jump into back testing instead. As Huckle mentioned, it's bank holiday. The stock market is also closed today, so less volatility in the market. So far though, it kind of looks like some decent volatility, so we can probably utilize this anyways. That's why I kind of put in between. I've been watching it sometime this morning just to make sure we are on this on the page of the market here. But we'll see. This is the CBC that you can be looking for a long in, but still be careful in here as we don't have the backed up story behind it. It's uptime up here around this level. We haven't swept a breathing room, haven't swept a breathing room, so This can be some quick scalping. Based on what I can see here, it's technically speaking should move up on the CBC, but since CBC is not, we don't have the story in here, we might not utilize it. This is the reaction from that 50 and that 50, by the way. The sort of hypersonic model in here. And now we're most likely gonna see also the reactionary level from this area. So this looks to be green from this point as well. So a couple of things working against us back and forth in here. So watch these levels, as we have multiple ideas why we could move up from this point. So it could look just like this. At least into this area up top here. But at the same time, since we have this up move, we're also sitting on this down move, right? Which is gonna run essentially back down into our stop loss of that short. So multiple directions at the same time is not the best probability. But if you get a tick chart entry in here, this is absolutely a valid long to take, a more aggressive valid long to take. I'm pretty sure that's what Huckle would be seeing as in terms of a long, based on how he is trading, I would assume. But that's connecting the dots with the tick chart. So it's most likely gonna stay stuck in here for a little bit of time. How's the homework going for you guys? Are you enjoying watching a returning point in the market? The good stuff. Because that should be some pretty annoying ass work. It should be good, but annoying, right? It's gonna act up a bit. This stuff I don't see the why always take time to figure it out. Yeah. That's usually the problem. It's not a valid short to take on CBC. Even though we have that low and that high, right? So we're sweeping that high, and this is considered to be the breathing room. It's not a good short to take in here, essentially just because we're sitting inside the CBC to the upside. That just failed over here, so it's an up move that's prioritized. Spent a lot of time this weekend. I feel like I kept getting in CBCs that I didn't see breathing rooms anymore, like 2 steps backwards. Yeah, that's the big problem when it comes to moving too fast with information as well, and that's why it's also so important with getting the foundation straight, right? With understanding the breathing rooms, and if you feel like you're taking 2 steps backwards, don't feel like it's a bad thing that you do. All right, you should see it as, all right, now it feels like I'm forgetting about this. That should be your guideline to go back to that information, understand that more again, remind you of what a breathing room is, to then continue on with CBCs, right? Our mind works like that. If you feel like, oh, I forgot about this, I forgot about that, I mess up here, I mess up there, then your mind is automatically going to say, all right, I'm forgetting about this. Then you should be moving back to the breathing rooms to understand that again. right? The mind is literally guiding you where you should be moving to see where are you slacking, where are you having troubles right now, uh, and be guided by just that thing. I see a lot of people, and especially in the beginning, that had the same feeling, right? I feel like I'm backtracking, feel like I'm not moving anywhere, I'm missing out on some key information. Um, but you're really not. What you need to do at those stages, go back to the information again. Remember that multiple people in here has ran over the information multiple times, and that's why I say the more you know, the more you will know. So essentially, when you step into more advanced material and more deeper material, what is going to happen is your brain is going to be like, all right, now I'm understanding this in a different manner. Now I need to go back over the information again that I used to do, run that over again, sort of update that based on the information I have now, and that's going to be better performed at that stage because now you're up to date with that. So you're kind of having, imagine all of the lectures, all of the information I'm giving out. Imagine them being, for example, 10 metrics, right? CBC entries, understanding story, understanding the technicals, whatever it might be. And you're always going to have to make sure that you're staying on top of all of those levels at the same time, monitoring where is your key piece, where it's drawing you down a bit. That's what you should be working on at that stage. Push that level up, and then something else is gonna feel like that's dropping, so you push that thing up as well. So you jump back and forth between different things that you feel like, okay, I need to study this more, I need to study that more, and you're seeing yourself as a project in that manner, right? And you're seeing where you're slacking because you're having a 1 out of 10 in your understanding. And I'm actually going to implement that uh, for your own journal as well, because that's something that can be utilized for yourself when you're taking uh, your understanding of the market accurately, right? So running through the information at every end of the week, what you're going to do is have a set of 10 metrics. How am I feeling with this? How am I feeling with that? How am I feeling with this? How am I feeling with that? And some days you're gonna, some weeks you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm 9 out of 10 on CBCs, but I'm 5 out of 10 on breathing rooms, for example. Uh, what is gonna happen at that point? You're gonna easily be able to recognize where you feel like you're slacking. You go and work on that very thing, push that level up to a 10, for example. Well, now you're gonna work on the next week. You're gonna work on some other thing, um, where you feel like you're slacking, and in that manner, you are always keeping up with your informational curve, if that makes sense. That's, imagine you being a soundboard, right? And having 10 different metrics. Make sure they're always at the top of the game, and that's how you monitor yourself as a good trader. That's what I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to keep up with my mind. Where do I feel like I'm slacking? That's where you're ending up at in the future, right? And multiple of my high tier members as well, including some members. Uh, I've named that multiple times. Where are you struggling right now? Because I'm asking that question not just to be a nice dude who asks that to make sure that I'm up to date with everybody, but also so they know what they need to work on, right? So that's a really good metric to use and live by. Okay, how do I make sure I'm top of my game at every single level that I'm working on right now? If that makes sense. Um, I want to see if that holds or not. If that doesn't hold, I'm seeing that. It's kind of a hard. This is not the best optimal situation to use the hypersonic model in because price is not aggressively consolidating but actually pushing RPMs. Got it. I would say I was too zoomed in on the small time frame. I lost the bigger. I would focus on seeing the larger game. Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna jump back and forth, which is great because you're gonna be learning what you're doing. You're having a key mindset here, right? You're gonna be learning the smaller time frames, which is gonna make you better at understanding the bigger time frames and see the smaller inside the bigger ones. So your progress is absolutely, what's this reaction from here? Your progress is absolutely going to be something that you can be utilizing in that manner, in that aspect. So, so utilize your thinking in this case and remind yourself that this is going to happen over and over. Oh, I got stuck here. Let me move back up to the high time frame, and your progress on the smaller time frame is going to give you the bigger perspective on the higher time frame through the smaller time frames, right? So, um, at the end of the day, you're working together with your own brain, comprehending information of both smaller time frames and high time frames at the same time, and hence that's why me Jay is working on the 1 minute chart, because my problem, Kilby, was that I got too stuck and too caught up in the smaller time frames, right? So if I were to stay on those smaller time frames, I was usually being cooked at because I was so dialed into the smaller time frames. Now, since I moved up to the 1 minute chart, that helped me out to understand, all right, I'm utilizing the smaller time frames inside the big perspective, right? And not the smaller time frames inside the smaller time frames, but the smaller time frames inside the bigger perspective. And that's why you're always seeing me utilize just one chart. But inside this one chart, I'm seeing all time frames. So I make sure that I don't get caught up in what is, the smaller time frames and taking my entries and be stuck on the entry format. But matter of fact, understand the bigger time frame and utilizing the smaller one inside of it. Pretty nice wick from there. I do think this, if price moves in here, it's gonna break. Take that. Um, um, that's a reaction from that level here. Might see something in here, a sequence to turn around in here. So I'll be looking at the tick chart entries here. You're gonna see most likely a reaction from here. More aggressive reaction now. So there it is. See if I can be part of something. One tick below, and that should be some sort of reaction up. If it drops lower, I'm gonna look for a short instead. I'm not saying that this should hold. I'm a bit unsure about that. That's why I'm a bit. It's just like one can going sort of back up and down in comparison to this sucker here as a breathing. So price could be heading back for this very area as well. Sweep that and still go up higher like that. And now you can see a reaction up from here instead, right? There it is. And this is the more profound area it can react away from. You might see a CBC here before we go up, if we're gonna go up like that. Oh, that 50% from your Megasonic trade, right? Yeah, exactly. Megasonic. Yeah, it's the hypersonic. So we're inside that 50. We can probably see it go back in here into this area where it's gonna react away from, and then shoot back up. But this is the area of interest, right in here. I can actually get rid of that now because it was used for that. And this might be running into this high to create that 2 to run lower. So I might actually be looking for a short in here as a very aggressive one. Like that. Let's see if we can find a tick chart entry short here. So I want to see that. Sort of want to see that 50 being tapped. Might be 2 on the tick chart right here to go up. Tap into here now. If it runs that low, I'm sort of interested in a short pretty immediately. So either we run that or we go back up in here. Not ran yet. There it is. That's the potential 2 to the downside. It's going to start to react harder up and down here aggressively in the volatility. Most likely. See that too. Again, this is what would be clean in this instance. But kind of closes like this, not preferably. I've seen that. I would rather see a bigger drop, but it's okay. It's most likely a drop here anyways. See how this 2 acts up in here. I'll run back up into that area again. See how it acts around in here. Boom, boom. That's the reaction. Dun, dun. It's gonna get stuck in between this candle in here. If it runs that, we're bearish. Yeah. And this is most likely where it's gonna be some sort of reaction up a bit, maybe. And then head back for this low. Reaction up. And this is the area. It should be either reacting down. This is the last point. It has to decide to go down or up. And if it wants to go down lower, it shouldn't run this. So yeah, that holds intact. Now it should be a drop down here. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Now it should be dropping down to this low here. Actually drop down here. So This is a CBC2 in here that you can utilize to the downside and side. So this is a CBC side, as you can see. But now you're gonna see a quick spike just tap below this low here. And this is gonna be the area where you're looking to turn around in price because you're sitting at that 2 into a 3 down here. So it's gonna spike through that. Let's see how I can utilize this here. I'm sitting on that short right now. So, wait, didn't I just get tagged out? Yeah, I did. My stop was lower. Or take profit, I mean. Oh, I got tagged out right here. Even though my target was down here. I thought I put my take profit down. Hold on. In NinjaTrader, can you look at the past history where you put your take profit at? Or is anybody using NinjaTrader? Because I thought that's a 3 anyways. Here, turn around to the upside. Well, anyways, I had a limit here with a stop tick above this high since I thought price was going to head back down lower. I was stopped out right or take profit out right here. And that quick move. I mentioned today I'm going to be more scalping. So I'm not looking for larger moves. Maybe in orders. Yeah, let me check. That's the 4 of 5. So remember I did this? This would be cleaner to see. This stuff right here. That's what's currently playing out. Let me check that out. Yeah. What the shit? It says that my take profit was canceled. Or that order was canceled essentially. I'm getting brain damage from NinjaTrader right now. That's the 2 anyways. See that CBC2 into ISS2 right here? That move that I mentioned more likely to happen here. Story was to go down to this level. So I'll have to run through that NinjaTrader shit later on. So that's the 2 into 3 into 4 and 5. And 4 and 5 is also a 2 to run lower, right? I don't necessarily have a story. I'm reading the current flow price. Watch the reaction from this point now. It's most likely going to have a pretty big reaction up from here. That's the reaction. I don't know what's going on with the NinjaTrader, man. It says that my order at 24.814 was canceled. But that doesn't explain how I was taken out down here at 816. I was taken out at 816.50. I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't know. That doesn't explain why I was taken out. Oh wait. Oh right. All right, I figured it out. Solved the problem. I actually had to take profit sitting down here, but I had 2. And as soon as this was taken for some reason, that one was canceled. I have no idea what I did, but I'm not the most technical person in the world. But hey, it is what it is, right? Um, what was that? That was a season 5R. As you can see in here as well, as my tide is so tight, my stop is so tight up top, I don't necessarily need to put or look for a confirmation inside of here. I saw that as a 2. I saw the entire thing playing out being a 3 to run up higher, to run lower. I did though see that 3 being ran down here to move up, to move down lower. Now it didn't move down there, but that's also, that's just the case sometimes. Through the hypersonic model, you have to understand also that we're utilizing mitigated and unmitigated taps. All right, so you're gonna have to be able to read price in the unmitigated and mitigated fashion. So we're going down to this, giving some sort of reaction, but most likely this is the last point in terms of the unmitigation down here. So this is not mitigated yet, hence why price might want to go down here, touch it a second time to move higher. And that goes for the majority of things. Same with this one. This was not necessarily tapped. So it was almost tapped down here, which means that you could consider it being sort of mitigated or not. But when price just does this very thing right here and leaves it, usually the area it wants to go back down to just test it and then move away from it. That tends to happen a whole lot. We're expecting to go higher. Yeah, I was mentioning the hypersonic model also gave me the indication that we're going to move low from that 50 here. And so we have that reaction to tapping it to move lower. And from here, we don't have anything specific on unmitigated up top right now. So most likely see a drop down here. I drive the fib on 2 candles for the hyper model. Yeah, this is exactly. So it's utilizing 2 candles. I'm gonna go over the rules of that in the future as well. Hypersonic model is something new that I used to do before, but I was pulling in a large amount of points. It's more stressful, but more aggressive, more tap orientated. So, for example, here it's gonna react from this point, most likely here a bit. If your idea is to go up, potentially go back up into this area right here. This is something that I'm working on the side of things to make it a more aggressive model for those that like more aggressive trades. Hypersonic being very aggressive and very powerful in range bound markets. So when it's consolidating, that's the prime time. Now is definitely not the prime time to use the hypersonic model. And that's hypersonic model is not something I'm using right now, right? I don't use it. So what I'm teaching you guys, you new guys, that's something that that is the one thing that I'm using. I'm using the tick charts, the ISS, the SS model. So everything that I'm actually teaching you guys, that's what I'm using. Otherwise, it would be strange. Teaching something that I don't use would be weird. So the way I am trading is the same way you are gonna be trading. Today is more just I decided today I'm gonna go into the market with a more aggressive approach, grabbing the tick charts, very quick moves, quick scalping, instead of grabbing these beautiful shit show model trades. So you haven't missed anything. It's somewhat new to everybody, right? So don't mind that. Don't get stuck with that. I don't want you to learn it right now. You can learn it in the future, but you don't have to at all. I'm not using it nowadays. It's just for more advanced people that want to just know more. Yeah, stay to the basics. That's the way to go, man. In terms of the actual model, we now have this ISS sitting on top here. Reason being an ISS, it's too few amount of candles, right? Uh, Essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish candles in here. So I would say that's an ISS level. We don't necessarily target ISS levels. So, and we don't have anything to target on the downside either as of now. And so it's important in these cases when you have this scenario in front of you, you don't have much to look at. What I would prefer you doing in this case, really focus and dial down into what is currently happening. Try to get into the flow. It's a really good opportunity to be part of the ever going flow. And see, okay, it does this now, it tells me this now, it tells me this now, it tells me this. And just kind of be able to practice to change your idea based on what the market is doing at all times, based on your understanding. And remember, this is going to be some sort of reaction from here as well. Remember that you are going to see a lot of different instances that are going to appear from the market where you're going to have one huge candle showing up and your idea is changing. You're going to have one reaction here and your idea is going to change. You're going to have this situation happen and your mind is going to change. So being able to adapt to all circumstances that appear on the chart, right? That is what is very, very important in these cases. When you're utilizing the model, essentially. Because that's one of the strong points. When you get tapped out of the flow, you're not going to know what is happening. And we don't trade based on not knowing. We trade based on knowing and nothing else than that. Everything else is bullshit. So I want you to dial in and focus in on what all the expectations of what could happen in the future, right? Multiple outcomes. Right now, it's going to be hard to write out the outcomes of this. So as price moves on, you're going to get more and more different outcomes. And the more price plays out from this area, the more outcomes you're getting from this area, you're going to see more situations and more ways to be part of it. That's the reaction up, by the way. From this area. I don't I don't at the end of the day it's holy smokes, man. But this is at the end of the day something that is followed up by understanding the ever ongoing flow, right? So this is some of the stuff that I'm essentially working on. You're gonna have these reactions away from these levels at the end of the day. Sorry, I need to drop. Thank you, Jay. Yeah, it looks like something Huckle could be taking. 55, another 55-hour day for Huckle. 55-hour trade, my bad. Just in the 70 tap and it align with your thing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's many times that thing as well. But it really is pretty beautiful, isn't it? And the crazy part is when it comes to my model, the things that I'm noting out on the chart, the reason why it's getting reactions away from it, when you're digging down deeper into why certain things are happening, that's usually where you're gonna get, oh wait, but this is just this. Oh wait, but this is just that. And that means you're doing something correctly, right? Because everything is in one way or another going to align with the very model you've been building on. You're gonna see like, all right, wait, it's giving reactions away from it. Why? Dig down deeper into it, you will realize that it's connected with something else. it's connected with something else, connected with something else, and then everything is just aligned from that point. So that's why I say I actually just trade one thing and one thing only, and but everything that I do around it usually gets that big idea of my foundational information that I have, and that is the Shitshow model, right? Watch, I mentioned this level right in here as well, that this looks sort of interesting. That's why it was a white circle around it. But I'm more interested, especially in this side sitting up top here. Not as much in this one, but I've still noted it out. It would just be cleaner if we did decide to go up in there. And the crazy part, when it comes to the hypersonic model, you're gonna see the reactions are from tap to tap when you're utilizing that. Almost like the 5-minute chart. That's what I'm getting to. Matter of fact, that looks to be a 5-minute tap in here as well. That's but again, this is something that I tended to use a whole lot when I was scalping. Got into a trade, took some quick points, and moved out of it. You get these reactions sometimes, right? And I might be starting to realize that we didn't have anything else to sweep on the downside. I think you heard me say that. But we created this ISS, so we don't necessarily target that, but we had a reason to now go up because price was efficient from down here. And this was potentially being considered to being mitigated already. CBC2 might see a reaction like this if it decides to be efficient, which is not something it has to be, especially before New York Open. It can just pump and then give some sort of drop. I want you anyways to note this low out as just a white line, or actually just note it out as a CBC2. Because I believe it's actually not doing this thing right here. If it does, it's just cleaner, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to stop around here, just pump higher. Get rid of that. Clean up the chart a bit. All right, one trade taken so far. I do believe price is not going to sweep that low. It's going to tap into this CBC and run high, even though we have that CBC2 in here. Most likely, it's actually, I believe it's going to run high from this already. I don't think it has to be efficient enough to run down into that 50 to run high. So aggressive already. And aggressive being, again, this is aggressive. And now you're seeing that reaction. That could fail. If it fails, we're going to run down here, sweep that, run back high. Goes down here. I might actually be interested in taking along. It's still inside the 1-week candle here. Just to be part of something more aggressive, since I've said I'm more aggressive today. Okay, I would not be interested in a long anymore if it moves up. It just moved up like that after almost tapping that 50. So that would have been my trade, but I was late on that, and it was very aggressive to take that long. But definitely doable. Um, I just want to make sure that we don't have. You're most likely gonna see some pretty aggressive reactions from this point. Um, just for your guys' perspective there, as that is most likely the last shit show level up top there. So expect some sort of reactions away from that. And don't just randomly take a short from here now. That's dumb. Wait for something to happen to convince you that we're going down. Because we have nothing in here that is clearly convincing of us actually going and dropping down lower. Nothing is straight on, like we have to go down from here. Because we have everything is efficient down here. It's the only thing is that high time frame 2 in which we do not look to target because it's higher time frame perspective, right? We don't target higher time frame 2s in that manner. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Not interested in here. It's too aggressive for me. I don't know what I'm sitting on. I think I'm sitting on about seven 7 hours or so. Let's see. Yeah, about 7. Mm. Gonna have to save something for high tier as well, right? Da, 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 da. That's another long that you could take. It's very aggressive CBC inside CBC right now. So I wouldn't. Hopefully it runs low here, so we understand that we're not supposed to take CBCs inside CBCs. Just to prove my point. And that would have been your stop. That's the CBC inside CBC. And now it might pull off higher anyways. It usually does that. Might have the reaction down here now. So that's going to be the failed to run back down here, sweep that, turn that into an ISS to pull off higher. I don't actually think it's going to. I don't think it's gonna head back down here immediately. I just think that price is going to go down here, sweep it just a bit, tap into this area right in here, which is also a breathing room, but just on the smaller time frames and smaller perspectives. I would say that is going to be the breathing room, and this is going to be the breathing room as well. But that is looking to be swept. That is looking to hold. Price going to dip down there and just shoot up. That so you can get a perspective on it. What you could do as well is just this thing right here, which is most likely the 50 it's going to tap into, so get rid of that. The only thing that it's very obvious that it should move up here, but I think I'm gonna do it anyways. I don't like to take trades that are way too obvious or run highs that or levels that are way too obvious either. That's just not my piece of cake when it comes to trading. I like to take my trades into areas in which are not as looked upon. right? That's what I where I like to get out of my trades and look to target. That's why the shit show levels come into play. Everybody's looking at the high, but I'm not looking at the high. I'm looking at some inside level high of interest. Because if everybody's looking at a specific high, I know that I will not be looking at that because they'll put me in an advantage. I want to be in the smaller percentages of people that are looking at different things rather than everybody looking at the same thing. If everybody's looking at the same thing, that's usually in life as well, where it's most likely not going to happen. It's not, uh, what could you say? It's sort of efficient way of seeing where price could, for example, or life could turn around on. Looking at where everybody else is looking is not gonna make you too much money. That's something just that I personally have a belief in. See if it gets the reaction away from here. I would actually prefer it not reaching that 50 and just drop down from here immediately now. That would create that 3 inside that 2 to head back up. And then have that 2 sitting here. Down, down. Boom, 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 boom. That's beautiful. See if that CBC to the upside here is gonna hold it to run up. I think it's gonna drop below that low anyways, because it doesn't align with a bigger story of running that low first. So that's why I think it's gonna run that low like that, and then into this low just like that. And now tap that 50, get a tick chart entry in here to run higher. Wee. See if it heads up here. I don't want to see this slow being ran down here now. Let me just move this 3 inside the 2. If it does run that low, we're most likely heading back down lower here. I'm sitting on the 245.50 here, and I'm willing to take a stop on this sucker if it goes to my stop. I'm sitting one tick below that. It's a pretty aggressive trade here, but I'm okay with taking the stop if it goes there, as this could explode to the upside. Looks kind of weak right now. If it runs in here, I might consider taking my profits out. Now it could react down again from here. Let's see if it's... All right, let's get out of here. Should have a tiny bit of reaction up again. See if we can let him go. He's got 8 seconds. Right. Just gonna react down from here. I want to see a sweep of that high one more time. I might get out here. I don't think it's going to be able to reach this high. That's the problem. So I wanted to see this tick chart. I'm break even right now, by the way. So I'm risking a whole lot on this. I'm break even out. I greeded a bit on it. I wanted to see that being tapped up again one more time. But it barely came up. I set my take profit up here. It was one tick away. So I was break even on that trade here. That was too bad. Greed got a hold of me. That's the, and again, when you're entering on the tick chart, see how we went up here, swept that. That's CBC. That is your worst enemy. See how it took you out down here? So that's a 2 into a 3 again now. So now is the time you can move moving higher. That tends to happen a whole lot when it comes to entering on the tick charts, because the CBC is your biggest enemy when it comes to that. And that's what I like to talk about as well. Multiple situations, right? And now is the time it should be moving aggressively to the upside, because now it has swept that. That was a 2 into a 3, and now it's going to head back up higher. Just like that. See that? And now it's going to most likely explode to the upside into this high as well. But this is the reality sometimes, right? Greed got a hold of me a bit, and I was not able to efficiently utilize that. But that's why we try to put ourselves at break even, right? And that was also the tick above that high. See that? That was the tick above that high that I was looking with my take profit here. And now it should go a bit. It should look to run this high in here. CBC makes double 2s and 3s. Yeah, exactly. That can definitely happen. Yeah, absolutely. And when you're entering on the tick chart, you have to understand that was a tick chart fail too right here. You have to understand that the biggest enemy of yours is the CBC against you. That can stop you out. And that's when that happens, you should be break even immediately. And I preach about that all the time. You should be break even when that CBC arrives. When you have a CBC against you, put yourself to break even or get out of your position. Otherwise, you're a dumbass essentially at the end of the day, because you now have everything against you, working against you. So why should you be putting out money into that trade? And that's the long move here that I mentioned. So as you can see, it works very well, but sometimes my mind wants to be greedy. Sometimes my mind wants to get a hold of those extra points. Sometimes my mind wants to be part of the more aggressive move. That tends to happen. And now you're seeing that 2 run that high, run lower. Doesn't this look awfully a whole lot like this, by the way? Run up that, run that high again, run that high again, and then drop, and then drop. See that? It's the same stuff over and over and over again, right? So this is the reality of trading. Again, you've seen me taking multiple trades. You can see me take multiple winners, but I do have my break evens and my losers, right? But if I have a set system where if I enter on the tick chart, I make sure to go break even when that CBC is working against me. Because at that point, it can stop me out and I'm fine with it. I'm fine. If I want to greed to get out of my position, sure. In this case, I greeded. That's all right. I still got out of break even. It costed me 0. It was not immediately break even, by the way. I actually got out here with a tiny bit of profit. But we have to understand those very instances can happen. We need to protect our downside, manage our stops, right? If you're entering on tick chart, look out for the CBC. It will destroy you many times. Or you can bet on not destroying you. In this case, I betted on it not destroying me. Meaning what? I put my stop to break even. It cannot possibly destroy me anymore. I'll get out at zero or I'll make money. And I take that picture many times. If you know that you were gonna lose zero if you put everything on red, or if the roulette table lands on red, you're gonna keep your money and lose nothing. And if you put everything on black, it doubles, meaning you have eliminated the downside. You will be spamming that black button all night, every day, 24/7 if you've eliminated your downside. Guess what we're doing in trading? We're eliminating our downside. We found the highest probability setups, highest probability reactions, and then we eliminate the downside. In that case, if we do it over and over and over and over, at the end of the day, based on probabilities in our favor and eliminating our downside, we are going to walk away with money. That's the reality of trading. And everybody that says trading is gambling, that's bullshit, because in gambling, you can't eliminate the downside. In trading, you can eliminate the downside. And if you can't eliminate the downside, you're sitting in a market where there's millions and millions and millions of money, dollars, that you can be making on a daily basis by just eliminating the downside and based on your time sitting in front of the chart. That's the reality of trading. So make sure to, if you want to be a degenerate like myself in this case and wanted to greed in this case, make sure that your greed is not going to cost you a single buck. You're actually going to make money. I actually made some money sitting at sort of break even today. I don't count this as a win, or I count this as a win because it's break even. But essentially, even though I made a tiny bit of money, this was since my stop was so tight. I was essentially making 0.56 Rs on the day, but I'll not count that. But everybody get what I mean here? Is everybody with me about what I'm speaking about? Eliminate your downside and you're gonna see some really good amount of profits over time. Eliminate that downside. That's the best way. Imagine, right? People trying to increase their win rate, for example. I'm a big supporter of increasing your win rate. I love having a big win rate, even though I'll make less money with high win rate, for example. It's not the case, but if that would be the case, you make less money by increasing your win rate, I would still increase my win rate because it sets a good mentality for me. I lose less and it feels great for me. But imagine if you are working on increasing your win rate and you're just working on your wins in comparison to working on your failures and your stop outs. If you're working on your stop outs, guess what? You are going to automatically increase your win rate and reduce your loss rate. So you're putting in the same amount of work, but you're doubling the outcome. So work on your stop losses, eliminate that downside to the best of your ability, and you're automatically going to see a better win rate increase because you're going to lose less. You're going to make, at the end of the day, more P&L rather than taking so many stop outs. And at the end of the day, who gives a shit about taking a stop out if you're making money at the end of the day? Who cares about being right if you're making money? I don't care if I'm right or wrong. It looks amazing, this and that, and he can predict this and that. Yeah, cool. But if I don't make money out of it, I don't give a shit about being right and wrong. And that's what I've realized over time, right? I love being incorrect if I make money with it. I love it. I'm gonna look forward to that every day being incorrect if I make money with it. And that's the case. I can be completely wrong about a move, and the model will still provide me with some good profits inside of it. And that's just the beauty coming out of it. So with that said, this was all for today's session. I think there was a lot of learning involved in here. Hold on. And for the high chair, I'll see you guys in just a second. I'll grab some water and we'll continue on the chat and continue on the trading, right? For members, make sure to study a lot. You're gonna reach this point when you're reading price in this efficient manner. There's more good things coming. We have a lecture upcoming. I think it was this Wednesday that I scheduled for it. Make sure to get your homework in prior to that. Um, and we're gonna jump into numbers characteristics. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm looking forward to do here. Yeah, numbers characteristics. We're gonna speak about slowly taking a step into understanding the story behind price. That's gonna help you tremendously, and also a lot of you are gonna meet that wall that Rena met at the end of the day when that story comes into play. Uh, so with that said, my guys, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'll talk to you very soon again. Make sure to study hard, work hard, and push us to the next level, right? All in or nothing, and that's the reality of it. Work hard beats working smart, especially in the beginning. I'll talk to you all in a bit. See you around.